What is going on, guys? This is King Gaming here, back with another video. And this video is gonna be, or more so, a series. This is gonna be multiple part series of videos that I'm going to be doing. And this is basically going to be either me doing impression discussion, review discussion, or overall just talking about the RPG Maker game that I play, beat, or currently playing. And some of the videos you might see gameplay, you might not see gameplay. It just might just be me talking through the entire video. But I might show some images or clips of what I'm explaining and such. So yeah, I'm going to do something a bit different. Instead of just playing the game live or recorded, I'm just going to be talking about the game in full details off the best of my ability from what I played or from what I remembered or whatever. So, this video is basically just going to be about the categories and how this scaling work and what I'm touching on. So, let's start with the first category, which is the mapping. This is very important, which is why I have it first. I have it first because when it comes to RPG Maker game, the first thing I see and the first thing I always look at is how well does the game look. Because that's very important to me for playing RPG Maker game, because a lot of RPG Maker games do not have great presentation. They lack any sort of appeal when it comes to looking at the game. It's 2024. Your game should not be looking like it's made by children. I don't care if you're not good at mapping or whatever. There's so many different tools and tutorials and just overall games out there, 2D games, RPGs, maybe even RPG from the Super Nintendo era, that has great mapping that you can learn from. For example, Final Fantasy VI. Look at Final Fantasy VI map design. Look at how they do the cave, how they do the town, cities, whatever, and learn from it. There's so many games you can choose and see on the internet. Look up the map, see how the map looks, see how the map is designed, and basically just take inspiration from it. But mapping is not really that hard. You're just not using your imagination. So yeah, mapping is very important because it tells you what the world is like, what type of setting it is, what's going on in the world, what's the history with the world, especially when you use the tile set that you have available really well. Make it look natural, make it look like a fantasy world or modern world or cyberpunk world. Make it look natural to the setting that you have for your game. That's very important. And next, we have story. I don't need to explain what a story is, but story. That's basically the main story, the main plot, the main goal, the objective, the world building, the lore, all of that stuff. If you just have a story but no world building, no lore, you're not really doing anything correct. Or no setting. If the setting and the lore and the world building and the story don't match, don't fit, don't flow together, then you're not doing it right. But yeah, that's the story. That's what's covered in the story. Now, inventing. This is also important. How well you do the invention of your main story, your event, your side quest, your cutscenes, maybe cutscenes in battle, maybe cutscenes outside of battles, you know, opening cutscene credits, ending scene, theme, everything. Eventing. Do the characters look like they're alive? Do the NPCs walk around like they're, you know, like they feel like they're alive? They're not just robotic. Do the NPCs all have different type of dialogue and speaking, manners of speaking, and so on, stuff like that. So there's a lot you can do with eventing. Build more powerful, better interactive NPC, world, cutscenes, and all that stuff. So that's eventing. What's the next one? The next one is pacing. This is also very important. Is your game paced well? Are you spending too much time doing one thing or the other? Do you spend too much time in the dialogue? Or too much time just doing battles after battles after battles after battles after battles? Or spending too much time just exploring and nothing is happening? The pacing of the game is very important. Is there a sudden difficulty spike that prevents the player from progressing? Or did the game just suddenly just make no sense, that the story just goes off well and the pacing just take a nosedive? The pacing is very important. It either can make the game or break the game, because you have sections of your game that are just boring because of the pacing. It's gonna turn the player off, then they might not even want to come back. So the pacing is very important. You gotta pace your game well. You gotta balance your game. Don't have the player be doing one thing for too long, and then the next thing they spend hours doing this one thing, and then they spend another hour doing this one thing. Break it off. Give them a time to a break period in the gameplay, or the story, or the exploration, or mix it all together. Never have the player do one thing, and with that one thing only for hours upon hours. It's going to kill their mood, and it's going to kill any other chance they have of replaying the game or playing the game more. So that's the pacing. The next is the characters. Does the game have good characters? Is the characters interesting? Is the character interesting? Do I vibe with the character? Do I understand the character? Do I understand the motive of the character? The goal? Is the villain interesting? The main character is interesting? Is the romance really well put together? Is anything with the character forced? Like, if you just adding this stuff for the character just to add it, you know, stuff like that. The characters. And also, do they have any connection to the story? Do they play a big role within the story, or the combat, or whatever, the lore? Stuff like that. So that's the characters and everything. That goes for main characters, side characters, villains, and so on. The last category before I give my score is the mechanic, and that is go for the battle system. What is the battle system like? What is the gameplay like? The overall gameplay loop? What is the combat like? Is it too difficult? Is it balanced? Does each playable character have different play style? Do they all play the same? Is it unique enough to separate it from other RPG Maker games? That's what the mechanic is. So yeah, pretty much everything that has to do with the battle system or the gameplay loop. And then my score. Basically my score of overall playing through the game, demo, or finished game, or currently playing through the game. That's my score. Now for the currently playing through, that's basically the score at the moment, not the score once I finish the game. So that can change as well as every other score for the currently playing. So yeah, that's my score. And then after all 8 of those scores is added, you get the final score. And the final score gives you the number, and then you have the stars. The most you can get is 5 stars, but to get a 5 star, you have to be 5 across the board. You gotta be 5 across the board. So at most, it's gonna be really hard to get a 5 star. So yeah, that's my score sheet for all the RPG Maker games that I'm playing, currently playing, beat, demos, playthroughs, or just overall everything that has to do with RPG Maker games. Basically the backlog and completed games, everything like that. Yeah. So yeah. So the next video I'm going to be talking about the completed games that I have. So yeah.